Yes, students, welcome to the next video lecture. In the last lecture, students, we have done up to sum number 3 of exercise 4.1. Today, we'll start with the fourth sum. I told you to do the fourth sum in homework, but let us discuss it once again here. The data about the closing price of shares of a company for 10 days are given in the following table. Obtain the trend using graphical method. Now students, here we are not told to find linear trend, we are only told to find trend. So whenever it is told to find trend, we find a curve. But here students, we can either draw a line also and either we can draw a curve also. So need not worry, in our textbook they have drawn here a linear trend. So be careful students, we will draw a line. As such, you are free to draw a curve also students. A curve and line both are valid, but as per the answer of textbook students, I am going by linear trend. Now students, the first step whatever we write is that the given values of t and yt. Now here it is given day wise students, we need not convert. If it was year, we were writing that 2008 is t is equal to 1, 2009 is t is equal to 2 and onwards. But here students, already the time period is given in days 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 10, and correspondingly students, we have the price of share in rupees. So students, here we are free to directly start the graph as we did not write the previous step. Now students, whenever you are drawing graph, maintain this format. In correlation also students, I have told, leave 5 lines from the bottom and draw x-axis, and along with margin students, always you should draw y-axis. This is the ideal format or layout to draw the graph. I repeat, leave 5 lines from the bottom and draw x-axis, and along with margin students, you should draw y-axis. This is the ideal layout, or you can say standard format to draw the graph of time series or correlation or regression. All 3 chapters students, the layout will remain same. Now students, the lowest value of price of share is 297, and students, the highest value of the price of share is 329. You can check students, this gap is very less, 297 and 329, so hardly it is a gap of, you can say, 29 plus 3, 32 units. So students, here our scale should be appropriate and we'll take a scale of 5. That is more than sufficient on y-axis. On x-axis, 1 centimeter is equal to 1 day students, because we have to fit 10 values. Okay students, now I am drawing the layout of the graph. Say this is y-axis, and students, here we have x-axis. I suppose this is very clear. On x-axis students, we have time period, and here this is origin. Now say this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Scale students, I am writing here x-axis 1 centimeter is equal to 1 day or simply a day, and y-axis 1 centimeter is equal to 5 rupees. On y-axis students, we will take a scale of 1 centimeter is equal to 5 rupees. We will take a broken graph and students start from 295. So say this is the broken graph, 295, 300, 305, 310, 315, 320, 325, 5, 330. Here we have price in rupees. Price in rupees. P stands for price. Now students, let us plot this. For the first day the price is 297. Okay, so for 1 it is 297, so in between of 295 and 300 we can take. Then for 2 it is exactly 300. Then for 3 it is 304. For 4 it is 299. Little below 300. For 5 it is 324. Then for 6 it is 320. For 7 it is 318. For 8 it is 324. For 9 it is 329. And for 10 it is 328. Now students, we have to join these 10 points in order. With the help of line set. This is our original series. And again, a reason not to draw a curve, that here more appropriate will be a line, students, rather than to draw a curve. So here we can draw a trend line like this. This is trend. So on x-axis we have taken time period, on y-axis students we have taken value of variable quantity, which is price in rupees, and title will be time series graph showing variation in price of a share for last 10 days. What will be the title, students? Time series graph showing the variation of price of a share during last 10 days. Box the title, box the scale, students. This will give us the graph. So that's all, students. This completes our graph of exercise 4.1. Now students, let us check if we have similar graphs in exercise 4, then we can draw it. Students, yes, in the ninth sum of section D, students. Come on, in the ninth sum, students, of section D. Come on, refer the question, students, ninth sum. And once again, as far as possible, students, when no description about what type of trend we have to find, students, we can always draw a trend line. Even if we have drawn a trend curve, it is not wrong. But students, line is given more preference than a curve. Check in this sum also, the ninth sum of section D. The following time series shows the daily production of a factory. Find the trend using graphical method. Here also linear trend is not written, so you are either free to draw a curve or free to draw a line. Students, line is more preferred than a curve. So here also the day and production is given, students. We did not convert because years are not given. Days are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 10, and corresponding production in units is given, students. So here also we are directly free to draw. You should only write this step. The given values of time period T and YT are as below. In this sum also, students, in the fourth sum, you have to write in your ruled side of the graph that the given values of time period T, students, and the corresponding values of YT are as below. So here also section D, students, I am doing the ninth sum. The following time series shows the daily production of a factory. Find the trend using graphical method. The following time series shows the daily production of a factory. Find the trend using graphical method. So the first point you should write in your fair book or notebook the given values of time period T and the corresponding values of YT are as below. Okay students, if I see the variation, it is from 21 to 27. So broken graph, and we can take a scale of 1 unit on y-axis. So let us keep this scale as it is and once again draw the graph. And we have to be very careful students, because the graph which we are drawing, students, in that means in examination, that graph is matched with a computerized graph. They will draw the time series graph, students, in computer and the answer key is prepared. So we have to go for extra perfection, and that comes, students, only on practice. Now in your notebook you will write this step I told, given values of T and YT are as below. Okay students, now I am drawing x-axis and y-axis. Say this is y-axis and say this is x-axis. I think it is easily visible, students. It is very difficult to draw a graph, students, on this small board, but I am trying my level best to do. So this is time period T. I hope all of you can easily see time period T, and this is production. Broken graph. Here 10 equal values, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. And here 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 and 28. This is y. This is x-axis, students. Okay, now students, let us plot the pairs. X-axis 1 centimeter is equal to a day, and y-axis 1 centimeter is equal to 1 unit. Now for the first day it is 21. So here. For second day it is 22. So somewhere here. For third day it is 23. Somewhere here. For fourth day it is 25. So somewhere here. For fifth day it is 24. For sixth day it is 22. For seventh day it is 25. For eighth day it is 26. For ninth day it is 27. And for 10th day it is 26. So if I join this in order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is your original series. Here also a line will fit more. We can draw like this, a line. And this line is trend, linear trend. That's all, students. So here, students, simply we have to write the title, time series graph showing the production for 10 days in a factory. Time series graph showing daily production for 10 days of a factory. Box the title, students, box the scale. This completes the graph, students. Now, students, one more question we have in you can say exercise 4 students, section E students, sum number 4. Exercise 4 section E, the following data shows sales in 1000 rupees of a commodity. Find the trend by graphical method. Okay students, here we have to find the trend by graphical method. Here also students, as such there is no indication of linear trend, so we can either draw a curve students, or we can either draw a line students. Both are absolutely correct. Need not worry if the word linear is not written, and if you have drawn a curve, then also it is absolutely right students. No need to worry. Now the fourth sum students, here it is from 2007 to 2016. So if you check again, 10 values of t are given, and appropriately correspondingly students, we have the values of yt students. So here students, again we should write that step. Considering the year 2007 as t is equal to 1, 2008 at t is equal to 2, and onwards. Okay, let us write that step. Considering the year, sum number 4, section E. Considering year 2007 as t is equal to 1, 2008 as t is equal to 2, and onwards. The given values of t and yt are as below students. So make the columns of t and yt 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And correspondingly students, you should write all the values of yt which are given: 200, 216, 200, 216, 228, 235, 230, 232, 236, then 235, then 230, and the last is 233 students. I have less space students, so I have written little bit. You can say clumsy, but you can easily copy from textbook. This is to understand the perfect steps, so I am writing students. So in this type of graph students, what will be considered? Considering the year 2007 as t is equal to 1, 2008 as t is equal to 2, and onward students, the given values of t and yt students are as below. Now students will draw the graph. The least value of yt I think is 200, and the highest value is 235. So we take a broken graph. On y-axis we'll take students a scale of 5 units, and on x-axis 1 centimeter is equal to 1 year. So if I draw y-axis students, so this is y-axis, and say this is x-axis. Say this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Time period t. Here we take a broken graph. Start from 200, 205, 210, 215, 220, 225, 230, 235. I think the highest value is 235. And here we write the data is regarding sales in 1000 rupees. So sales 1000 rupees. Sales in 1000 rupees. Scale x-axis 1 centimeter is equal to 1 year, and students y-axis 1 centimeter is equal to 5000 rupees. 5 units, the unit is in 1000. So be careful students, we have to write 1 centimeter is equal to 5000 rupees. Don't write 5 units, that is correct, but the unit is in 1000. Okay, now students, if we plot for 2007 means 1, it is exactly 200. So it is this. For t is equal to 2, it is 260. So little above 250. For 3, it is 228. So little below 230. Then 235 exact for 4. Yes, for 4 it is 235. Then for 5 it is 230. For 6 it is 232. For 7 it is 236. For 8 it is 235. 4,000 rupees. Okay. For 9 it is 230. And for 10 it is 233. Now we join the original series with the help of line segments. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is your original series. Now students, when you have a sharp end for your original series, it is advisable to draw a curve. Here no such instruction is there. Again you have two options. Either students you draw a trend line or you draw a trend curve. But since your graph is sharp at one end, at the lower end, and concentrated at the upper end, students, it is advisable to draw a trend curve. So let us draw a curve like this. This is your trend. Even if you draw a line, it is not at all wrong, students. It is absolutely correct. But since the curve is sharp at one end, it is advisable to draw a curve. So students, this completes, I think, all the graphical question. This completes our exercise 4.1 also, students, and this completes our all graphical questions. So I request you students, you should draw these graphs very perfectly and draw once in fair book and once in homework book, so that students you can learn this graph perfectly. Once again, never get confused. Even if you draw a trend line, here it is absolutely correct. Now students, our second method. Now students, we go for our second method, and students, that method is nothing but the method of least squares. Students, how many methods are there to fit a trend? Then the answer is 2. First is graphical method, and second is, students, the method of least squares. Now In graphical method, we had a limitation that different persons may draw different trend lines, hence the estimates may differ, interpretations and conclusions may also vary. So graphical method is not a perfect method, students, to fit a trend line. The perfect method, students, to fit a trend line is the method of least square, students. So today we are going to first discuss the method of least square. Now as we had a line of regression, students, same way we have trend line. In regression we used to write y cap is equal to a plus bx. In this method, students, we will write yt cap is equal to a plus bt because our independent variable is time. In regression, students, the independent variable was x. So you can say the required trend line between the independent variable t and dependent variable yt is yt cap is equal to a plus bt, where you can say b and a are constants to be found out. In regression also we were finding y cap is equal to a plus bx, where b and a were constants to be found out. Why first we write b? B is required, students, to find a. That is why, students, we are writing first b. And here, students, we don't have different formulas to find b. We have only one universal formula, students, to find b, and that is also very similar, students, which we have studied in regression. So in the method of least square, students, we don't have to mug up anything other than this, remembering only two statements. For the given ordered pairs of time period t and variable quantity yt, the regression, the trend line, so the trend line is obtained as yt cap is equal to a plus bt, where a and b, or we can write b and a, are suitable constants which are to be determined. So here, students, if at all you are asked to find, or you are asked to describe the short note on method of least square, for the basic short notes we have only 4 points, of which 2 I have already told. For the given ordered pairs of t and yt, the required trend line is yt cap is equal to a plus bt. b and a are suitable constants which are to be determined, students. The formula for b, let me explain you, it is the same formula which we had in regression. So students, you need not worry. Say the trend line is yt cap is equal to a plus bt. Now b, first I am writing the formula of regression, n sigma xy minus sigma x into sigma y upon n sigma x square minus sigma x the whole square, students. I suppose all of you remember this formula. Now replace x by t and y by yt, because in time series the dependent variable is yt. So the formula for b n sigma ty minus sigma t into sigma y upon n sigma t square minus sigma t the whole square, and a is equal to y bar minus bt bar. In regression, we had a is equal to y bar minus bx bar. Here, students, we have a is equal to y bar minus b into t bar. So this is what, students, we have in trend line. Very similar to regression line. No different formulas to find b. Only one standard formula, students, to find b. Now let us take merits of this method. This method is absolutely mathematical, hence future estimates do not change subjectively with the person. everybody will get the same answer of B, everybody will get the same answer of A. So there is a universal trend line, and hence this method is not subjective with persons, it will always remain same. The trend estimates obtained by this method for each of the trend estimates can be obtained by this method for each of the given values of t. Means what? In regression also we were finding the values of y1 cap for given x1, x2, x3. Instead of x1, x2, x3 for given t1, t2, t3 we can find the estimates of y1 cap, y2 cap up to yn cap. Now the trend estimates can be obtained for intermediate periods at this trend values are obtained using an equation. This is very important. Say suppose we have t is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 10, and I want to obtain estimate when t is equal to 7.3, when t is equal to 6.8, when t is equal to 5.4, we can easily obtain, students. So the three merits are this method is mathematical, hence it is, you can say, perfect, universal, it may not change with person to person. For all given values of t, we can find the estimates of y1 cap, y2 cap, y3 cap from trend line equation, and this equation which we have obtained helps us to estimate the values of y for intermediate values or in between values of time period t. Limitation, students. This method requires extensive mathematical calculations, and the reliability obtained or the reliability of estimated values obtained by this method is less if an appropriate trend curve and its suitable equation is not fitted. Means whatever estimates we obtain from this trend line are not reliable, students, if an appropriate type of trend curve and its suitable equation is not fitted. Means that fitted equation, which is trend line, is not appropriate, the values of A and B are not appropriate, then students this method fails. So in examination, rarely students we are asked to find a short note or means to write a short note on method of least square. Students, go through the short note, you can ask me whatever doubts you have, and in next lecture students will start exercise 4.2, the sums of obtaining trend line. Thank you, students. We conclude the lecture.